Tesla TSLA slipped before earnings because investors are weighing weaker revenue against bigger autonomy promises. The pressure point is quarterly numbers matter, but the bigger test is whether Robotaxi, Optimus, and AI spending justify the capital plan. The hard number to start with is this. Shares declined 1.55% to $386.42 as analysts expected $22.08 billion in first quarter revenue. So the useful read is not one earnings print, it is autonomy proof. The anchor number is $22.08 billion, while $20 billion capex shows the scale already visible. That keeps the opening question tight. Can Tesla move past Robotaxi data without the story outrunning its evidence? A viewer who only sees one earnings print misses why 358,023 units and 2026 rollout define the risk range. The important context is analysts' projected adjusted EPS of 35 cents and adjusted EBITDA of $3.217 billion, both below prior year levels. That baseline keeps the story grounded. It shows why the headline is connected to a real operating or market condition instead of a loose narrative. The number to keep in view is 22.08. The context also explains why one earnings print would be too narrow. The story sits inside a larger structure, and that structure is what makes autonomy proof worth tracking. That baseline also explains why 2026 rollout belongs in the setup rather than the conclusion. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. Here is the working mechanism. Tesla is asking investors to look past near-term margins toward autonomy, chips, and manufacturing capacity. In plain English, the setup becomes stronger only when the process behind it holds up. The detail to test is Robotaxi data, because that is where the claim meets observable evidence. If the mechanism breaks, the headline loses force quickly. If it holds, the event can start to affect decisions beyond the first reaction. The mechanism ties 22.08 to 358,023 units, so the next reaction is not random. The practical effect lands on Robotaxi. The capital plan tops $20 billion for 2026, more than double the previous year's $8.5 billion outlay. That does not mean every connected market moves the same way. It means the group closest to autonomy proof has to adjust first, while everyone else reads the spillover. The useful scale marker is $20 billion capex. That marker keeps the consequence tied to visible data rather than turning it into a broad forecast. AI5 chip also matters here because it shapes the route from autonomy proof to actual decisions. What remains unresolved is fleet size, exact autonomous vehicle counts, and the delayed Optimus timeline remain unclear going into the discussion. The story should not be stretched past that. Tesla still needs proof at the exact place where the current setup could either strengthen or break. This is where viewers should avoid treating assumptions as facts. The next piece of evidence has to connect directly to Robotaxi data, or the open question remains open. The proof has to appear in Robotaxi data, not just in repeated claims about Tesla. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. For Tesla TSLA, the next signal is whether management gives concrete timelines for unsupervised Robotaxi expansion, AI5 manufacturing, and Optimus. That signal matters because it turns the story into something measurable. The viewer should remember Robotaxi data, because that is where the next decision point sits. A clean signal would reduce confusion around autonomy proof. A failed signal would show that the current headline was not enough to resolve the story. That is why the final read stays tied to 358,023 units, 2026 rollout, and Robotaxi data.